Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into our latest video, and what a video we've got for you here. This is the Winter 2024-25 NAO Forecast from GavsWeatherVids. So a true epic. This is about the biggest video that we do throughout the year, and I shall get on with the NAO Forecast for next winter in a moment. But just say, if you're enjoying the content on the channel at the moment, please can you like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much everyone for doing that. We're premiering this video on Sunday the 30th of June, so hello to all of you in the premiere. I hope you're having a lovely time hanging out with me in the live chat and watching the premiere. What are we making of it all? I wonder. Gav will be revealing all a little bit later on, so that's going to be a sight to behold, I think. Hello to all of you in the premiere, and hello to all of you after watching after the premiere as well. I say these videos, NAO forecasts, normally generate about 10k views or more, so it's just about the biggest video we do here on the channel through the year. And, you know, whether you're watching the premiere or watching afterwards, I hope that you are enjoying this video. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Richard, for our amazing NAO forecast gear. Thank you so much, Rich. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much, my friend. Sector neutral, but at the end of the forecast, you will see a little swingometer from Richard, topical, given the election. You will see a little swingometer showing, you know, whether we're favouring a positive or a negative NAO for the coming winter. Now, of course, this is based on May sea surface temperature anomalies. We will go through those sea surface temperature anomalies that we have through May 2024 in a moment, and then I'll deliver the forecast. But before we get on with that, just got something a little bit different to do for this one, because loads of people over the years have been asking why it is May sea surface temperature anomalies in particular, and it's a question I've not particularly been able to answer. You know, it just is what it is. It's a UK Met Office methodology, an old UK Met Office methodology, and last year Richard actually reached out to the UK Met and, you know, directly asked them why it would be May sea surface temperature anomalies in particular, and not, you know, any other month. And this is the reply that we got, or Richard got. So thanks to Richard for reaching out and asking. I hope this, you know, answers a lot of the questions that so many of you had over the years. So Richard emailed the UK Met and asked them why it's the month of May. UK Met replied and said, good morning, Richard. Thank you again for taking the time to get in touch. Having heard back from the climate team involved, we received the following response. The SST, sea surface temperature tripole, in May has been found to show some skill for predictions of the North Atlantic oscillation and hence the European weather in the following winter. One theory for this is that it gets stored in the subsurface ocean, which is topped up by a shallow mixed layer of warmer water in summer until it is remixed to the surface in late autumn, when you get, you know, more activity in the North Atlantic, both in terms of the ocean and also in terms of the climate. See, for example, this paper. They've got a link. We'll have a look at that in a second. I hope this helped to clarify, and please let me know if you require any further information. Kind regards. That's from Thomas. Probably not the shaft, but it is from Thomas from the Weather Desk. Now, this is the paper that they linked to. Now, check this out, everybody. A little bit of science here before we get on with the forecast. So, I'll just read this very quickly. And bear in mind, I'm not very good with scripts, so just bear with me. I'll probably stumble over my words, but let's try and do this. So they say, we analyse patterns of North Atlantic air to sea interaction in observations and model output throughout the annual cycle, with the dual aims of validating natural variability in climate models and quantifying seasonal predictability of the atmosphere and of ocean surface temperatures. The Met Office had CM3 coupled ocean atmosphere model is shown to represent well the atmospheric forcing of sea surface temperature SST in the North Atlantic region through the action of latent heat fluxes. Winter ocean temperature anomalies in both observations and models appear to be observed below the shallow summer mixed layer and to re-emerge in the following autumn. we find observational evidence from the first half of the 20th century for SST forcing of the atmospheric circulation in the North Atlantic region. Results validate our atmospheric model had AM2B and confirm. Bear in mind, this is a few years ago, so that's not the model now, I don't think, but this was a few years ago, so. Anyway, we continue and confirm that the levels of potential predictability of the North Atlantic Ocean NAO that have been observed, that have been found in recent modelling studies. We suggest that the ultimate correlation scale of a winter NAO hindcast in this period is in the range of 0.45 to 0.63. Analysis of observational and atmospheric model data from the first half of the 20th century identifies very little predictability in the winter NAO. We suggest that a change in seasonal predictability is genuine and may be related to the strength of decadal oscillations. The ocean atmosphere model, which incorporates a different atmospheric component, had AM3, failed to show a causal link between the North Atlantic temperature and the atmospheric circulation, even during periods where low-frequency variability is as strong as in recent observations. A brief observational investigation suggests that any implied predictability of the winter NAO based on the knowledge of South Atlantic SST depends on the existence of secular trends in the data. Tropical Pacific SSTs appear to influence the winter climate of the North Atlantic region, but not via trends in the NAO, and that is from 2002. So, as we say with these NAO forecasts, let me just quickly put webcam back on. By the way, I'm off, you know, a slightly different angle, because of my fractured foot and ankle. But as we say, it is of interest, this, you know, it's the starting point for the winter updates, winter forecast, but you couldn't base a winter forecast just purely based on this, you know. So we always say that this is like the beginning point, the starting point, but much more work will be needed, and we do that when we get into September. Nevertheless, it is of interest, and there you go. So for anybody who's been wondering about the NAO forecast and, you know, why it's month of May, etc, etc, I hope that a little bit of science at the start of this particular forecast helps to explain that. Thank you so much to the UK Met for, you know, responding to Richard. Thank you so much to Richard for reaching out to the UK Met. Amazing, Rich. Thank you so much, my friend, answering the question that so many have asked over the years. And thank you so much to the UK Met as well for their response. Right, okay, so let's get on with the actual forecast then. We're going to begin just explaining what the NAO is. So we have to do that, of course, for anyone who's watching this for the first time. So the North Atlantic Oscillation, basically depicting the strength of the zonal westerlies in the North Atlantic, the Atlantic setup, you know, throughout the year, but it particularly applies in the winter. So when you've got a positive NAO, you will have high pressure ridging in from the Azores into western and southwest parts of Europe. So the Azores high is strong, ridging northwards in Spain, Portugal and France. And low pressure tends to be around Greenland, Iceland in the North Atlantic, and so you bring in these west-south-westerly winds. It's usually, a positive NAO is usually a signal for a mild setup, a mild scenario. Not always, you can get colder blasts from like the north of the northwest temporarily, but if you're a positive NAO, normally in the winter, you will be in a mild zonal pattern. Wet and windy, often, sometimes drier if the Azores side, ridging northwards, especially so into southern parts of England. It can also be quite a storming type setup as well. This is it. So that's from 1989. This is another example of a positive NAO. This is from 2020. January 2020, again, see these purple colours around Greenland, Iceland in the North Atlantic, that's the polar vortex. And then we've got high pressure from the Azores into west and southwest Europe. Again, we're strengthening the zonal westerly flow, bringing the air in from off the Atlantic. It's a westerly type setup in winter. That is a mild wind direction. Usually delivers wet and windy conditions. So a positive NAO is a signal for a milder than average pattern. This is how a negative NAO looks. This is from December 1978, end of December 1978, 30th. Notice it's a complete turnaround. So instead of a low pressure within high latitudes up towards Greenland and Iceland, actually we've got relatively high pressure up there. Instead of high pressure around the Azores, we've got low pressure running through. Notice the black line, that's the jet stream on a southerly track. And so low pressure that will normally be around Greenland and Iceland is basically sent southwards into the middle of the North Atlantic, and the upshot with that is that we start to bleed colder air out of the northern latitudes. So the cold air pushes southwards from the Arctic, it can push southwards from Russia, through Scandinavia, and we typically get the wind either from the north or from the east when we get a negative NAO. Again, there can be exceptions to that, so it's not always the case that negative NAO will lead to a cold northerly or easterly setup, but usually that is the kind of pattern that you'll tend to get. This also is from 2020, actually, when again we've got these brighter colours here around Greenland, so lots of high pressure within the high latitudes, and also towards Scandinavia and Svalbard, and that sends the low pressure, it sends the polar vortex essentially crashing through the west of Europe. It actually displaced the polar vortex from Greenland and sent it down into the west of Europe on this particular day, the 18th of December 2010. I'm sure a lot of you remember that from the December to remember. So that is a good example of a positive NAO. That is a good example of a negative NAO. So how do the sea surface temperature anomalies reflect this? Well, this is how the Atlantic sea surface temperature line profile looks for a positive NAO. So notice that you've got these blue colours, these cooler than average colours, through the North Atlantic, quite a cool North Atlantic, and warmer over here towards the eastern seaboard of the United States. This is from 15th of May 2015. So the idea is that that sea surface temperature anomaly profile that we see there in the middle of May 2015, is likely to re-emerge when we get through into the winter time, through various mixing and whatnot. This is how things look on the 15th of May 1989. Again, this is before a positive NAO winter of 89-90. Notice again, we've got these cooler than average, what I'm doing. Notice again, we've got these cooler than average sea surface temperature anomalies through here. It's warmer towards the eastern side of America, and also around Spain and Portugal as well. And that is another profile that would lead you to predict a positive NAO type setup based on that sea surface temperature profile in the North Atlantic in the subsequent winter. Now, what we're looking for a negative NAO is a tripole. So this is a good example. This is from 15th of May 2010. Notice that we've got three distinct bands. We've got an area of warmer than average sea surface temperature anomalies here from Newfoundland to Greenland. Then from the eastern seaboard of the United States over towards, what am I doing? Notice from the eastern seaboard of the United States, again my C's like W's mixed up, so warmer through here, and then notice from the east seaboard of the United States, from the east coast of America right the way through the central North Atlantic towards Spain and Portugal, it's cooler. Then we come down into the tropical and subtropical Atlantic, and we get a warmer band. So we've got three distinct bands of warm, over cool, over warm, with a sea surface temperature. That is what we call a tripole, and that's what we're looking for to be able to predict a negative NAO, subsequently thus a increased chance of a colder winter for the coming subsequent winter. That's from 2010. This one is from a long time ago. This is from 1995. But again, it's the same sort of idea anyway. Warmer south of Greenland and coming southwards in towards the Azores, around the Canary Islands, down into the tropical and subtropical Atlantic. And then it's significantly cooler over here towards the east coast of America. Doesn't actually stretch towards Spain, but it's the same sort of idea of warm through there and then cooler as we come around through there. So again, that is a pretty good example of a tripole, and both of those tripoles in May 2010 and also 1995 were followed by cold winter scores. In 2010 it was the December to remember, and it didn't carry on through the whole winter. Actually, it flipped later on in the winter, but certainly the December to remember was extraordinarily cold in 2010. 1995 was cold from beginning to end. The winter of 95-96 was cold from beginning to end, and again we see that tripole type signature. So that's what we're looking for a tripole. Now, how, you are all wondering, I am sure, I've been talking for some time, haven't we? 15 minutes, so I think we better get on with the actual forecast. How were the sea surface temperature anomalies looking during the past May 2024? Well, let's have a look. So this is how things were looking on the first day of the month, and again what is very evident is that we've got significantly above average sea surface temperature anomalies here in the tropical and subtropical Atlantic. Also quite warm to the south of Greenland, and then cooler through there. It looks quite similar that to the 1995 example, I have to say. Maybe you will want this area to be a little bit warmer. So you'll want this area to be a little bit warmer to be, you know, a direct comparison to 1995. But it's not that far from it, actually. I think, you know, overall, that would lead me to predict a negative NAO for the coming winter. But it's only the first day of the month. So what happens if we go on 5 days? Well, this is the 5th of May. 2024. Again, it's cooler through here, it's warmer through here, and particularly in the tropical and subtropical Atlantic down here as well. Not too bad for a negative NAO signature. This is the 10th of May 2024. Again, warmer through there, warmer through there, warmer through there, warmer through there, cooler through here. That doesn't look too bad for a negative NAO signature either. Looks kind of similar to 1995. Now, the 15th of May starts to see this cooler area begin to shrink, though. Otherwise, it's all looking quite similar to the 1995 example. But that cooler area towards the eastern seaboard is definitely shrinking in size. That's the 20th of May, further shrinkage of that cooler area. So gradually, as May 2024 progresses, I think we begin to lose the negative NAO signature to some degree. Anyway, it's still kind of similar, though, in the overall profile, but I think we start to lose that signature for negative NAO as we go further along. That's the 25th of May. By now, there's barely any cooler area here. So, as May 2024 went along, the Atlantic just generally warming in all areas, to be honest, which is something that we've seen, you know, over the past several years as well. So, except for to the west of the UK and Ireland, where it's a bit cooler, generally the Atlantic warming in all areas, and that goes on to the last day of May 2024 as well. Particularly warm with the tropical and subtropical Atlantic, and going northwards up towards the Canary Islands, maybe cooling slightly to south of Greenland as well. So it's very complicated bits and very difficult. We start off with a pretty decent profile, I think, for a negative NAO. We end up kind of losing it as we go along, albeit the tropical, subtropical Atlantic remains very, very warm. So it is quite difficult, this, and I think the forecast that we're going to be delivering, webcam back on, I think the forecast that we're going to be delivering from GavsWeatherVids, it's going to be similar to a lot of the forecasts that we've done over the past few years, due to the generally warm to very warm sea surface temperature anomaly that we see through the Atlantic, which is for a neutral to weakly negative NAO. If, for the coming winter, if we had kept that anomaly that we started the month with, now this is quite frustrating, if we'd kept the anomaly that we started May 2024 with right to the end of the month, then I would be rather more bullish, I think, in actually going for a genuinely, properly moderate or even strong negative NAO, because I think we started the month with a pretty decent signal there. But as the month went along, the sea surface temperature is kind of fading out. You know, so that does make it quite difficult. Nevertheless, I think, certainly up to the middle of the month anyway, we have a signal there from a sea surface temperature anomalies for a negative NAO. And so I think there's enough here to justify going for neutral to weakly negative anyway for the winter of 2024-25. Though I'll just show the swingometer very quickly. Richard has done a swingo for us. That's how we're looking with our winter 2024-25 NAO forecast swingometer, favouring a negative NAO, weekly negative, by 52% to 48%. 52 48% in favour of a weekly negative NAO. But is a margin of error with that, so it's possible that the NAO could swing more negative than that, you know, a proper sort of moderate negative NAO anyway, for this winter. On the other side, we could swing more toward neutral, maybe even weakly positive. I think a strongly negative NAO or a strongly positive NAO is quite unlikely, can't be ruled out, but based on this methodology, quite unlikely for the coming winter. And I would pitch this very much where we've been over the past several winters with this forecast, actually, which, as I say, is neutral to weakly negative. So quite an interesting forecast, again, very similar to recent forecasts once more. And as I said, this is just a starting point. We're not saying with this that we're going to have a colder than average winter, negative NAO winter for the winter 2024-25. As I explained at the start of the video, you cannot base an entire winter forecast methodology on this. This is just the starting point. We're at base camp, and when we get to September, we will begin our winter updates and start week by week forensically going through all of the things that we look at, the great drivers like the oceans, like ENSO, like the QBO, etc., etc. You know, on a week by week basis, forensically building up the picture until we release GavsWeatherVids Winter 2024-25 forecast, which will be around the beginning of December. So there we go. It's an interesting forecast again this year. I hope you've enjoyed the winter 2024 NAO forecast from GavsWeatherVids. So happily give us a like, drop a comment, let us know what you thought about this. What do you think is going to happen for the coming winter? What's your early hunch? And we'll go away now, enjoy the rest of the summer, and then we will meet again at the beginning of September when, as always, we will begin our winter updates, which build up, of course, to winter forecasts. That's going to be released, I say, at the beginning of December. Right, well, thank you so much, Richard, for all of the help on this forecast. Thank you so much, Rich, for the gift, and also for our swingo as well. And, of course, that info from the UK Met. Thank you so much to the UK Met for finally, after all of these years, explaining how all of this works. And thank you so much to you for watching this forecast and sticking with what I know has been a pretty long video. Thank you so much, everybody, on the premiere. Goodbye to all of you on the premiere. Wonder what we're saying. I bet having a laugh about something. Gav's probably made a faux pas at some point, but we've all found very, very funny, I'm sure. Yeah, but thank you so much, everybody, and we'll end it there. So for the winter 2024-25 NAO forecast from GavsWeatherVids, that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget, beginning of September, we will start the countdown to another winter season of updates, and I shall see you there, maybe. But for this, that's all for now, and thanks so much.